Today we will have several aspects that we are trying to discuss with you and also share some what we have researched or what we have done in the market that we can want to some kind of share lights with you. First of all is community, and then we have economic feasibility, and then property management in partnership, and then social cohesion through placement. And then the last point is the conclusion. In fact, in what we have called the super tall building market, you will know that from over the past 25 years, that there's a very rich development in the whole world, and China is the focal point of to be watched out by everybody, especially in our industry. And now it becomes to be spread out also to the tier 2 and tier 3 cities as well. And we hope to that everyone can have a better understanding about it. First of all, what is the super tall building? In China, we call it over 100 meters tall building. But from what we call now is the Council of Tall Building and Urban Habitat, we define it as 300 meters. And for those now, over 600 meters will be the mega tall. So we are approaching to be another kind of era. And so happened, and our companies have been involved in the first 20 building, about 2/3. It's our lucky, and it's our kind of some kind of experience. And in fact, in looking after, looking back to those the world development, you can see that the tallest one is now the Khalifa Tower at Dubai. It's 828 meters high and represent about 35, about a 10 cars long chain. That's a very, very low, huge capacity of the passenger or the occupants within the building. And in fact, there's another one under planning is 1,000 meters, or what we call is 1 kilometer high. That's a tremendous high. But for distribution, you can see, apart from the America, we still have a long history of a tall building in New York, Chicago, but the development moved to the east. And you can see the Russia, over 300 meters, that there's still some high buildings there. But the concentration seems to be in Asia now. And within the Asia region, we see China is the focal point. We have a kind of over 50% of the share of these super tall buildings. So it's our now, or maybe the duty or obligation to share with our friends and colleagues what is going on in the China super tall building market. And you can see from this chart, when we try to look at the data, you can see at the beginning of the 1990s, there's only a small portion of building in China has been super tall. But about the recent years, you can see there's what we call is the exponential growth of this kind of super tall building, especially in the recent years. And when we look at the data of the database from the Council of Tall Building have been inhabited, in the past 25 years, since 1990, we see the development started in Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, the first building was the Bank of China building, is still there. They finished in 1990. And then when it comes to the last year, the 2015, about 25 years, they are all together, about 41 buildings completed. About 33 is below 300, and then about eight numbers of building is about 300, up to 400 meters. But it's amazingly, from this year onward, about in the future 5 years, we can see it's under construction and to be completed will be about 52 numbers altogether. That means within 5 years, it can surpass, outgrowth the past 25 years. That's very tremendous. And we have seen also another kind of coming under planning beyond 2020. So it's tremendously, the market is in China. And we can look at the map. The first tier city, Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, are those already mature cities with super tall building. But without saying that, we can see at the second tier city, those municipal cities like Guangzhou, Nanjing, Shenyang, Tianjin, they are also developing super tall buildings. But amazingly, The third tier, well, those Wuhan, Xi'an, Lanzhou, Qita, all those are places that are developed, the third tier city super tall buildings. And I have seen a kind of some research articles from the Council of Tall Building Development. They said for those small cities, they are willing to run on in this kind of race for super tall buildings. Why? There is still some kind of questions that we are looking for. And the author suggests two answers. Perhaps maybe we can think about it. The first one is they think about the economic growth. For those small cities, they are running also a very good economic development for the GDP growth. And the second one, they're the leadership. They said those mayors are the young one, are the rising star. They want to have some kind of achievement just within their career. So probably these two are very, very good reasons, right, for them to have a high growth. Okay, coming back to my specialty, I'm the building management background. So we are looking at people as well, not only the building itself. And for those super tall buildings, usually we are calling it's a kind of an investment, and usually it to be a wholly owned or single-owned building. But now, more and more, it is designed to be sold out to a shorter title building. That means there will be more and more different users or owners who are coming out for this vertical village or vertical society. And then the third one is, well, when so many people are gathered together, what are they looking at? And in China, one special point that we want to mention is a kind of, well, what we call the feng shui is one of the elements they're looking at as well. From the chart, you can see one of the reasons that the community is growing in China is, of course, is the population. We can see from 1990 to 2000, within 10 years, the growth is 150 million people, represent one Russia, the whole country. It's amazing, right? Within 10 years, it grew up. And then the second 10 years, up to 2010, another 200 million, representing one Brazil, the Olympic game country. That's a very, very amazing, one country birth. And then the future 10 years, we can see is 190 million as well. So to cater for this kind of what we call is the hard demands, the people growth. So we should think about how to use a better use of our space, our capacity within China, how to cater for this people's need or the housing needs. The other graph is we can saw about is between the urbanization drive in China is you can see the cities and the rural area. You can see the contrast become more and more similar. The black one means the city, and the gray one means the rural areas. But now to the 2011, become close together. Half of people living in cities and half people living in the rural area. So urbanization is another great development of China to push that kind of super tall buildings. And then you can see it now, and the 2010 or 2015 is about half and half, but in the future, the brown color, the curve will move up to about 70-something% of the urbanization in China. There's another kind of a pushing factor that we call. How to make better use of this kind of space. And we can see within the same building, there are a lot of different functions. Not only the office, we are now facing about a kind of a composite building, mixed use development will come out. Not only the office, there are also hotel, there are also shopping center, there are also some kind of what we call the observation deck for the community, for the whole city's people to come, or the tourists, even tourists will come as well. So with respect to our Chinese building, what we call is a public space and also private space. It's a kind of a mix now. Not only all are private, owned by one owner, but now it should be thinking about how to open it for the leisure of our fellow citizens. So another element is calling the green concept. Within this kind of public space, people will expect something. Expect coming here for leisure, for green, for everything that they can enjoy. They can share the benefit of this super tall building, like I said, their own community. And in our case studies, we can see some design planning is also going for that direction. This morning, some speakers also said so. In Philippines, there is a project that is going on to inject more green element. In Hong Kong as well, there's under competition of a Council of Tall Winning Urban Habitat. The winning project is also talking about the green element. And the third one, we want to mention something. It's about the feng shui. Our group has, well, feeling that in China, we can't escape the people. What we call is the traditional beliefs. And what we call feng is the wind, shui is the water. Wind and water is the basic element of the natural environment. And so people will form to how to harmonize our environment. That's our next target or next move for action, how to tackle with this kind of environmental things. And beyond that, we have another kind of viewpoint. You can see the two pictures. The top one is the black and white. Nothing happened with the wind and water. They were quite monotonous, right? Quite boring. Yes, but after you add some water or add some color to the environment, the whole development will be different. That's what the designer is trying to make the message to the reader, to the residents. Oh, it's your home, it's your environment. You can make stable to it. In Hong Kong, many years ago, we have just said the first building is the Bank of China building, right? When it come out in 1990, it's completed. But when it was started to build in 1986, it started to build. There's a cyanide story. You see the shape of this China building is just like a knife, right? It's a triangular shape, like a knife. So when they face in front of there's a governor house, something happened, misfortune. The governor ruled was dead. So there's some thinking about some disharmony, or even talking about the life and death problem. Okay, in fact, myself is a Christian. I'm trying going beyond that, yeah, because we are not only talking about the environment, the water and wind belong to the God. So we don't mind. Just try to how to harmonize our environment and cater for the good welfare of the people. And what do you think for this picture in Shanghai? Different shapes. Of course, there are innovation. The people will have different mindset. I don't have answer for the feng shui perspective, right? Yeah. But people can think about beyond that, yeah. The other aspect is from the economic feasibility. As I just said, it's not only a piece of asset belong to the owner. It's also now coming to another point is it's a benefit to the whole society as well. Especially, you can see the observation deck. From our research, we can see a lot of super buildings is now equipped with observation deck. Not only the TV tower, it can draw a lot of tourists coming to the city and share with their enjoyment, and also bring very profitable revenue to the owners. So it becomes to be a kind of a GDP growth factor. It's just said, why the small city chasing for this kind of super tall building? And so we try to going to the different form, different shape, and try to attract the people. It's in our Shenzhen Ping'an, we have an observation deck at the above. And also you can see the Shanghai Tower. Also, we have different form to draw the attraction of the people. And the other fourth aspect is what we call property management, is in partnership. We are not doing our own self. Not only the owners, we also need the professional operator to run it. And the professional operator also have different specialty, try to help to maintain, sustain the continuity of this building, the life of the building. So, taking the example of the Shanghai Tower now, it's coming to a point of joint partnership with 3 owners and also 1 operator. It's a kind of cooperation model that we are maybe to be a kind of a typical model for in the future what we can do. And the last one is the social cohesion through this placemaking. we are just talking about the super top building. It's not only a workplace. It's now become a part of the community. It's now become a space that we can share, openable, enjoyable for our fellow citizens as well. And they are part of their expectation that we can open it. You can see the Shanghai Tower. They have different sky lobbies. They take into 8 different zones, and people can have easy access to these sky lobbies. Can have a leisure, can have coffee chat, or even can have some kind of community activities as well. So, dear friends, maybe one day we can sit there, and we will sit in the Ping An Center as well. We can have our own conference there, all right? And you can see performance as well. But one point is to our building management is we have also figure out how to balance the interests for leisure. But the other point is not the topic in today. What we call the security management, anti-terrorist. If many people flux into this kind of super tall building, how to ensure the safety environment? That's another concern, but we are not going to do deep here. To conclude, the building management model, and especially in the super tall building, are changing, as you can see, over the years. No matter the development process and also the operation model, we are seeing the changes. And we are also seeing the ownership, the design, and also the operation, and what we call the value formula are also changing. So we hope this is a kind of an introduction for all of us trying to explore in the further topic. Thank you.